And bringing a bit of composure to the desk, it's Dev Marta and it's Mandy. A change of the faces, and I'm sure the knowledge that goes with it. Dev, as we head into what is the final two matches of the night, I mean, do we look back? Do we discuss what's happened? Because we've seen a shellacking from Wildcard, unfortunately.
Well, shellacking onto Wildcard by the Gladiators, who have really stolen the limelight in Stage 2. They currently sit in first place. They might not stay there after this Elevate game, where Elevate get a chance to catch up. But yeah, it's been a pretty explosive day already so far. That was a crazy game of Clubhouse, and our first game as well with Direwolves and the Knights was equally exciting. And yeah, no doubt that the excitement won't stop here.
No, it certainly won't. The train is not stopping, not by any means. We've got 2 stops left. Chiefs take on Elevate. Mandy, if you went into this matchup and you were looking at this from Stage 1, you'd say this is the game of the stage. There is no way that it gets bigger or better than this. But boy, am I wrong here.
Yeah, no, unfortunately the story from Stage 1 has not carried over into Stage 2. The Chiefs seem to have dropped the ball even after their international appearance over in Sweden, and Elevate back on the rise. The roster of 5 seems stronger than ever nowadays, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
No, but a team that certainly is stopping Dev, it's almost like a stick in mud. The Chiefs have very much struggled to pull out any performance whatsoever. I believe it was a pretty abysmal round differential up until last week. I mean, it still is. It's -14 for this roster, and we're only on Playday 6. Do they have a hope here? This is the big question. I mean, like, of all
Hope
teams...
for what is the question?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe an OT win? Who knows?
It's hard for Chiefs. They are squarely out of contention for the major. And at this point, the next step for them is looking ahead, looking forward to Stage 3, because they made the major in Stage 1. They had a fantastic playoffs run, and yet things have changed so drastically. The team just isn't shining what it used to be, and the revamped Chiefs of 2022, bringing on Boydie and Bounson, and to some degree Ethan, who joined in late 2021, it just hasn't lived up to the expectation that they had set for themselves. And now you've got to wonder, like, what's next for the team? Got to be baby steps, one step at a time. I remember Digital saying after they won against IG last week, albeit in overtime, you have no idea how much we needed that win. That was exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And I mean, they surely need a couple or more to get themselves back on track.
Well, that's just it. We've got to think about the implications of the future. Speaking of the future, it's here and it's now. It's Elevate, and they are only 1 win away from securing a place at the Berlin Major. A regulation win here, Mandy, would confirm the Berlin Major from everything I can see. That is absolutely massive. The pressure that would be lying on their shoulders, would be immense.
Yeah, I love the future is now referenced from you, by the way. But anyway, the Elevate, I think it's actually 2 points that will qualify them in. If I might be mistaken
I'm
here.
just on the maths, yep.
Oh, fantastic. There you go. So even an overtime win, say the Chiefs somehow in their current form miraculously take it to overtime against Elevate. Even if Elevate can pull out an overtime win, they will still go to the major. This is a massive game for them. The pressure is on. It's a little bit less exciting, anticlimactic against the Chiefs, but I'm certain that they're going to go into it with holding absolutely nothing back. They do not want to be the major dodgers that they've been for the past entire year.
No, well, a player that's held nothing back for Stage 2 certainly is Sapper. His performance for Elevate has been, I want to say, just phenomenal, Dev. I don't really know any other word to describe what he's done for this roster in the last 2 stages.
I mean, he's gone from being the hilt to the tip of the spear. He used to be their primary support player, always on hard breach, and you still see him occasionally doing that, and he plays a mean smoke, as you can see, but he has been gunning on these entries with that LMG on Zafia. He's got a fantastic rating of a very high KD, as you can see, and he's also really up there, not only on entry, but on KOST as well, on cost. So a really consistent player. He's not a player that, say, has a lot of kills, but also gets traded all the time. He's got a really well-rounded arsenal, and he's just been a heavy hitter for this roster in every single game.
And I think, for Elevate, if we look at that, we look at the fact that Sapper was, more or less the support player of Stage 1 and really much of 2021. The fact he's been able to flip it around so heavily, so quickly is, I want to say, nothing short of incredible. Looking at the vetoes, however, that may well determine this matchup. I mean, I want to say it'll determine the matchup. It'll determine whether Chiefs are able to push it to OT or whether they're going to get absolutely obliterated. I'm throwing so much shade their way because it is just not looking great for them this stage. Mandy, we head to Oregon here. How are you feeling?
Oh, Oregon. I feel like Elevate play a pretty mean Oregon. It might just be in my head, who knows, but I feel like the last few times that we've seen them play it, they've been fairly good at it. They won against Wildcard on it, who were looking in pretty good form as well the last time they played that. Whereas for they actually won against the Direwolves as well last stage on Oregon. And I feel like every time we see them play it, to me this is like their staple maps is like Oregon and Cafe for, I suppose, for Elevate. On the side of the Chiefs though, I would typically say that Oregon is something pretty good for them. They did win it against IG, but I don't feel like they're in as good form as Elevate are.
No, that's probably the big determining factor here, Dev, in terms of our conversation in the pre-show. It does seem like we're kind of putting Chiefs on blast, but it's for good reason. However, this feels like a pretty even playing field.
I'd say if there's any map that gives Chiefs a chance, it is the map where they have their only win of Stage 2, which was, like you said, Mandy, against IG last week. Now, if Elevate had been watching that game in the lead up to this, which I have no doubt they would have, then they'll have a pretty idea of what Chiefs' strat book looks like, what their setups are like, how they like to play this map at the moment. Because this hasn't in the past been a classic map for Chiefs. It wasn't one that they played at all in Stage 1. The first time that they actually played it after a really long break was against BDS at the Charlotte Major, and they took that really close, a 7-5 against one of the best teams in the world at the time. It was a pretty good performance, to be honest. So for Chiefs, I'd say pretty good map. Probably best place to take Elevate, but I agree with you, Mandy. Like, this is such a good map for Elevate, and there's such a disparity between these teams right now that I just can't see Chiefs taking it.
Well, the Berlin Major is on the line for Elevate. Anything of a win, it doesn't matter. Overtime or regulation, it will secure them a place to run you through all of the action. It's Guz and it's Xenox. Boys, I hope you brought your steel cap boots.
Left them in the shed, mate, but fortunately we've got a really good game that will keep me distracted. Elevate taking on the Chiefs, but potentially, guys, a renewed, rejuvenated Chiefs could be on the cards here to maybe play spoil to the celebrations of Elevate making the Berlin Major, as Rob put it ever so nicely. Any win will do for Elevate.
Yeah, always a possibility that Chiefs could continue this small run of form they seem to have found themselves in, and they have nothing to lose heading into this match. It does also, however, have the makings of being a little bit
strange looking Oregon,
and the map is looking a little bit different. Yeah, a little bit sandier perhaps than usual.
Yeah, so we head to Oregon for what is our third match of the night. Elevate looking to secure their spot at the Berlin Major, while the Chiefs, they don't have anything to play for in terms of an objective other than, I guess, just trying to shape the way that APAC South will look at the conclusion here. And, you know, you don't really want to take that for granted, a team that has essentially nothing to play for, that is also looking to maybe close out the stage on a high. They play wildcard in Playday 7, which, of course, that's essentially a dead rubber now completely. So, all things considered, this is their last chance to actually kind of shape the 8 that we've got and, of course, shape the top end of APAC South.
Into the ban phase though, Flores, Nook, staples here on Oregon. Flores for those basement clears and Nook for basement entries. Neither of those will play a role though in this matchup. In terms of the defense, we see Kaid banned out. Again, a very prominent operator, especially on, you guessed it, the basement objective. And you would expect the final ban here to be a mirror, but perhaps the Chiefs will dabble in something a little bit different, and it will actually be the Aruni. So Onigiri, who's already been having a pretty rough stage, is probably going to have a pretty rough half here for Elevate when they switch over to the defense.
There's two operators, guys, immediately that come to mind that have sort of slipped on through. One being Finka, the other being Azami. Both have been quite prevalent in being operators that have been banned in recent times. Finka, that LMG, you know, needs a bit of a tuning down, and obviously Azami with the keeper barriers, very, very strong. But when you look at this map, Flores is always going to get banned off the board, pretty much 100% ban rate on Oregon. And then I like the Nook ban. I think we've been seeing quite a lot of Nook in APAC South, really good on the roam. When you think about these basement cross-map roams, I think Nook does that very, very well. So I can't complain with either of these bans. The Aruni is probably the only questionable one. Kaid makes a lot of sense. I don't agree with the Aruni. I feel like that's the only one that I'm a bit like, is it really going to do that much?
I mean, it's just a target ban onto Onigiri, right?
I guess
We're seeing how powerful he can be. That said, as I mentioned as well, this stage, at least statistically, actually hasn't really been very good for him. But Chiefs not taking any chances. Can't really blame them. All it takes is for Onigiri to have one good game on the Aruni. He can be very, very difficult to shut down in this second half. But the Chiefs don't have to worry about that anymore, and regardless, they are starting on the defense first here. Down to basement, probably as expected, and Elevate without Flores. In particular, will need to go for map control. Blue takes won't be as easy as they otherwise would be, and the Chiefs, at least from what I'm seeing, very, very default setup on site with some extension up above.
Now, we love our stats here, guys, of course. Oregon now played 4 times this stage. And what a turnaround as well from stage 1, where I think when you go back and you kind of reimagine what Oregon has been like in the past, considered very defender-sided. Now, it's only played 3 times in stage 1, so bear in mind the subsample here. 66% defensive win rate in stage 1 in Oregon, 43% defensive win rate here from 4 plays now in stage 2. So what a turnaround that we've seen on this map. And Ethan, talk about finding something on the roam here, catches out Mr. Punch. And this is the kind of aggression, though, I think the defending team needs to bring on this map to try and regain some of the strength that we've seen defenders have on Oregon in the past.
And I was about to go on a little bit of a tangent there about Finker and the strength that she can deliver. Also the fact that Elevate actually typically ban her out most of the time, 63% over the course of their last 60 games. But that storyline, at least for now, has been put to rest. Elevate now will try to clamber for control up above, and Onigiri and the Monty should aid in bedroom. There is a red ping, so he'll be able to scout out this room. And unfortunately for Ethan, he's now being detected.
Oh, I did get a bullet into the toe of Onigiri, backs himself into the corner, walk in, and it does get taken down. Don't mind it though. Time wasted, still found the kill onto Mr. Punch, and that's a pretty big one as well onto the Finker, right? 4 versus 4, minute 20. It forces Elevate to go up towards, that Kid Storm area of the map, when in reality, obviously needing to go and take on Laundry Supply. Now they're only just starting to get to work on this meeting hatch. There's a minute 10 remaining on the clock. This is a big win for the Chiefs to start with, but if Onigiri and Elevate are quick from here, they can recover more than easily, especially playing with that Montaigne.
Minute to go, and Onigiri will head down over towards Pillar, try and open up the objective now on that shield. Scat ahead, try and find some openings for the team. Sapper will post himself up in towards Freezer with the 2x. He can look down some of these long angles, hold them with the LMG in hand. And honestly, of all the 4 players remaining, he's the one that can really open things up for the attack.
Attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Sapper, the best entry player for Elevate, +6 this season. Oh, the head of Worthy, I think for a second. Worthy saw the head of Sapper and was just a little bit perplexed. He just sat there for a while. Onigiri goes down to Bouncin' too in quick succession. Time has unfortunately caught up with Elevate. And Worthy takes a good position inside of Freezer. I think he just peeked his way out of that one and gave DCH an answer. Does so. Mark is on site with Diffuser. Time though running out. So much so Mark has to stick this. Boydie surely does not blow this one. They've got the numbers. They've got the presence of mind to close out strong. Great start for the Chiefs.
Yeah, really confusing there from Elevate. They're looking very disconnected in that first round. And I don't know, obviously, but that could be the nerves they have heading into this matchup, but it's a match they shouldn't be nervous for. You eliminate the stakes, and this is an easy game. First is last. Chiefs have not been good this stage. Elevate should be quite dominant in this matchup, so we need to see a turnaround from that first round. It didn't start off well. Finker taken off the board early. It was a pretty late trade onto Ethan, who was sticking around for quite some time. And then the push on towards site, the timing once more was just not there, and the Chiefs were finding picks without being traded. So, well done by the Aussies, getting that first round on the board and the head upstairs.
Going back to sort of the site statistics, Guz, and, well, this season so far, or this stage so far, Laundry Supply, flat 50% win rate, not the staggering 92% that it was back in stage number 1. Kid Storm's the other one that has taken a massive swing, 67% defensively won in stage 1, now a lowly 28%. This has been the site that attackers have found a lot of success on here in Stage 2 of APAC South. It has now been considered an attacker-sided site. In the past, we've looked at this being the tertiary site. This is definitely, though, the site where attackers need to be finding success. So really can set the tone nice and early here. If the Chiefs get the first 2 rounds, winning out on kids' dorms as well, and it could put them in a good position if they can take the second round.
Mr. Punch not using the LMG in this particular round, instead going for the spear. Don't know why you would be doing that in this current meta. To me, that just does not make any sense whatsoever, but nonetheless, Sapper does get the first pick, so that's bouncing down. Hopefully he got those ADS devices down, but it looks like he's placed at least one of them, if not more, inside a big tower. If that presence isn't there, well, it was basically all for nothing. So good opening pick there from Sapper.
Yeah, another surprise, right? You've got what is essentially tied best player on entry this stage. Sapper has been leading the way for Elevate. Never count out on Akiri on the DMR. He has gone big in recent times. Ethan on the pulse, just top of Laundry Stead. Gonna go for the Nitrous up plate. It might just catch Mr. Punch, and does! 2 rounds in a row. The Finker has met their end early in the round. Chiefs bite back, and they make it 4 versus 4, and they get rid of the Finker again.
Won't have an impact once more, so that's nades off the board, Adrenal surges as well. And Worthy, just allowed to roam split. Elevate at the moment are all over the place. I don't know what is happening at the moment, but this is actually really, really concerning the way in which they've played these first 2 rounds. It's not the Elevate that we have seen this stage. Players in positions that, yes, are a little bit unusual, but should have pre-placed drones or at least an inkling that they're there. And Elevate walking into lines of sight and walking into danger. And because they're so split apart, not trading these picks or being in a position to even contest a trade. So the Chiefs at the moment are doing a perfect job, mind you, and are just fully leaning into it. Again, they have nothing to lose, so they can play this fearless style and not be afraid at all.
And when you really consider the map itself, Oregon is going to suit teams that play like a team, that have the cohesion and the coordination. It's not like a border where you can probably just QE run around and pick up a couple of kills and open things up. This is all about teamwork. Digital, big position downside of pit, 45 seconds, and Chiefs have the advantage, and even a little bit of information from Ethan still remaining here. Of course, already used that Nitro Cell, makes his run up main stairs here. Could go for a bit of a back flank late in the round too. That's one more gas babe now available for Digital. Worthy top white, all the positions for the Chiefs though. They need to be winning from this position. Mark though opens it up, the nade from DCH. Suddenly, Elevate have found an entry point. Ethan has to just go in and make a play. His only other teammate is Worthy top white. Sapper, what? How did they get a team kill? There was no pressure at all from the Chiefs, and they've just blown it. DCH is the last one alive. They almost made a way back into the round, but they've shot themselves in the foot, and the Chiefs will oblige. They take the opening 2 rounds of this game.
What a round from Ethan. So well played. He kicked things off with the pulse, got that pick, but then he would continue to feed information. The Chiefs had a perfect read. They knew exactly where those players were coming from. Then, not only does Ethan give that information, but he flanks at the perfect moment. Despite there being a Nomad on the board, Elevate don't have any meaningful flank watch to prevent that from happening and had no idea he was coming. And if they elected to ignore it, they've put themselves in awful positions. Ethan capitalized, played that round really, really well. 2 rounds straight from the Chiefs. And you know me, right? At this point in the game, I'm not often getting too excited for one team if they're extending a lead. But what we are seeing from Elevate at the moment is very, very disappointing. And the Chiefs, honestly, I can't believe the way in which they've won these first 2 rounds. It is very, very stark contrast to what we're seeing at that graphic at the top, which is a first place team taking on a last place team.
Yeah, well, if you know me though, guys, as much as it's exciting to see the Chiefs up and about in this game, it's still only early days. It's only 2 rounds. Elevate, of course, though, need to understand that this map of Oregon is not the defender-sided map, the fortress that it was back in Stage 1. Attackers have been having their way with this map in recent times. It's been attacker-sided more than defender-sided, but because of the switch around, I do still consider it that kind of 3-3-half territory. Now, this is where things can get a little bit interesting.
Now he's running the shotgun. So, I mean, I respect Elevate, right? They're a team that are going to bring out pocket picks, but it gets to a point where you have to tame insanity a little bit, right? Maybe, perhaps they're expecting Sapper to be able to play a flank roll down below and get a little bit sneaky with the shotgun, but it's such a strange game to be making these decisions on when you have so many better options there on the line. Anyway, I will reserve my
Well,
judgment for later on in the round. We'll see if it
You
works.
could look at it towards the long run, right? Imagine you get positioned at rear stage, backstairs area, and you want to sort of hold that corridor. Shotgun's a really good position to have, gun to have in that position if someone's going to be, peeking or swinging from the corridor from the kitchen side. So who knows what's going to happen there? And no. Well, that does live up to your theory there that it's just a strange pick and they get punished. Arguably the best player on the team and has been for this stage, running the shotgun, and is going to get punished for it out of the game early. Chiefs with another advantage. Ethan will make that 2. Double up. There goes DCH. It's a disaster from Elevate. And a complete disaster in the opening 3 rounds. It's an Elevate roster that need to qualify for a major. And we've seen this story play out too many times in the past. And it might just be the nightmare that continues to reoccur because they have not arrived in this game. Big shot from Mark, but the damage has been done. The round is essentially over. And if Elevate are not quick, it could be game over if they do not turn this around.
Mark now to salvage the scraps, which have been left behind by Ethan and Worthy critically, who closes it out. It has been a quiet stage for Worthy, but this map is an exception. And we know this man is an absolute gunner. If Elevate do not tame him in the next 3 rounds, this map is over. Their chances of qualifying for the major today are over.
Yep.
Often, teams can have a slow start, right? 0-3, we don't want to rule Elevate out. They're a fantastic team. They can bring this back. But the next 3 rounds are critical. They get an opportunity to reattempt, try and tidy up the mistakes they made on these sites. Chiefs obviously have to reattempt now. So they'll also be looking to make small adjustments to prevent that from happening. But I have to say, I am mind blown at what we're seeing here in the first 3 rounds. This is very, very, very unusual. I know I picked the Chiefs, but I did not expect it to be anywhere near the way it's playing out right now. This is incredibly, incredibly strange.
And look, I'll still play devil's advocate. This is, of course, an Elevate team that was first coming into today. They're more than capable of turning this around against a Chiefs team that has struggled this stage despite winning last week. You still would be able to back in Elevate from here and say, okay, they can turn this around. If they have to have a tactical timeout, it is what it is. Maybe this particular matchup, these 2 teams on Oregon, shifts us back a little bit, back to stage 1. Maybe the defenders will have an easier time with things. I can't sort of explain why, though. When you look at sort of the bans that have been sort of brought out, there's nothing that stands out that says, okay, this is going to be a little bit more defender-sided or say a little bit more attacker-sided. I mean, they don't have the Flores to clear the utility, the Nook for the roam game, all of that shut out for the attacking team. For the defenders, you're always probably expecting the Kayid off the board, and the Aruni shouldn't really be a factor, and obviously it is not a factor in this half because that's more of a ban for Elevate. So there's nothing that's saying to me right now that this is going to be defender-sided. We just have to wait and see.
Worthy, though. Look how much work this man is putting in. Not only 5 kills in the first 3 rounds, but now he's cutting down drones, and he is out of there. Elevate will now have to waste time to try and re-drone him. Worthy, meanwhile, already in split, and if he hears that player in classroom, might get a little bit excited for that pick, but elects to just back off, and he is such a great time waster at the moment for the Chiefs. Mr. Punch might be able to cut him down, yet to find himself in this game, and the timing not quite there. The 3-speed of Alibi gets past unscathed. And that's a win in the column for Worthy, despite not getting any kills to show for it.
You say that, but right now this is better from Elevate in the simple fact that they've not lost a player early on. They have not had that engagement. Yes, they haven't necessarily opened up the meeting hatch and probably got through the checklist in the timing that they would like. And I would imagine they haven't really droned out Bouncin as the late round flank option for the Chiefs. But they've slowed things down a little bit, and that's really all you can do if you're elevating this position. Get the drone game going, slow things down. It's Oregon. You can afford to do that. You can take your time a little bit more. They've got 5 drones, so they've lost 5. That's not too bad. Minute 20. Hatches still, though, have not been open. So you can really see Elevate has shifted the mindset and the approach in this 4th round. Slow things down. Try and play your game style a little bit more, and then go and try and capitalize if the Chiefs get a little too antsy, get a little too aggressive. Because right now, the first 3 rounds, the Chiefs are the ones making everything happen. That's fine. If you're Elevate, sit back a little bit and let them make a mistake, find a kill, go up 5v4, drop down, play your positions, and win sight through sheer advantage of numbers. So I think they're almost going to be expecting Bouncer to make a mistake, and he gets droned out as well.
Yeah, really good drone there. I was a little bit concerned for Elevate as Onigiri pushes through to Freezer. Oh! Worthy survives?
Why is he by himself, though?
I can't believe that Worthy survived that engagement. Nonetheless, though, 4-4 trade, 35 seconds remain.
4 versus 4. Yeah, Onigiri just pushed so early Everyone else was still prepping up above. Digital holding inside a supply, and he's got another 2 gas babes still to throw out. 25 seconds remaining, and really just making this a very difficult position to push through for Elevate. They've got not a whole lot of time. Worthy being low is a chance though, and they're being able to take it through DCH. Drop back from Boyd. He dies out in the corridor too. Suddenly, Elevate now have the player's advantage along with position on site. Here comes Digital though. He'll have to swing out, and the timing, it just couldn't really be worse for him. He got the first kill, but DCH had moved up into position. So much better from Elevate.
Yeah, so much better. They're just way more cohesive than they were on that last attempt on that site, and they made the push through freezer work. That round probably should have been even more convincing than it really was. Onigiri landed a ton of shots there onto Worthy, and he didn't drop, so that was quite unfortunate. But nonetheless, they dealt with him ultimately in the end. So certainly a big step up there, and despite the efforts of Worthy on the roam to cut down Jones, despite bouncing, trying to get in towards Big Tower and potentially go for a flank play or catch a player off guard, Elevate droned it out properly. They didn't feed into positions like they did last time and give away those easy picks. And then on basement, as you mentioned, it's certainly quite 50-50 at the moment. And if you have the manpower to push in and trade out picks, which they did, you're going to be victors. So well done there by Elevate. Still a long way to go though.
Yep.
Fortunately for them, upstairs, you mentioned it, very poor defensive win rate at the moment, so they can start to get themselves back into this game.
And suddenly, doesn't it just change the narrative so quickly? If you win Kid Storms here, if you're Elevate, it's 2-3. Suddenly then, only 1 round away from a 3-3 half, which I kind of put as part of the course for both teams. Chiefs have already got their 3. Now it's up to Elevate to just sort of close out this half. But yeah, much better in that last round. Really slowed things down. And this is actually why I don't mind the Chiefs going to Kid Storm here. You may have actually said, why not just repeat Laundry Supply? But if you had a repeat Laundry Supply, you're playing into Elevate, slowing things down and not trying to make too much happen too early on and not playing into the Chiefs' hands. I think Kid Storms can allow the Chiefs to continue to be a little bit aggressive down below. We're seeing a lot of these roamers pushing out. They want to make it difficult for Elevate to just get position right now, and they're doing a really good job of that.
Yep, for sure. We'll see how much of an impact it has though in this round. I think the critical piece of the puzzle again for the Chiefs is Ethan. He's playing the pulse again, he's playing below, he's looking for information, looking for picks. And Elevate faltered to it last time. They didn't have a particularly good way of countering it. They didn't try and hunt him down. They got nitroed from below, at least Mr. Punch did. And then he executed a flank as well, despite there being the Nomad on the board. Now, they haven't brought the Nomad back this time, Elevate, so that's something we'll keep an eye on later on in this round. But currently, Elevate themselves, they're not too keen on taking on these roamers directly. And again, that means that Ethan can just sit below and should have decent information as to what's happening up above.
Yeah, and for his sake, will be close to probably making his way over towards underneath Armory. Oh, beautifully done from Boydie there with the nade underneath. We'll stop that from being opened up onto the game as well. Minute 40. Boydie, though, does lose his life. Sapper finding that kill. Even I'm struggling to sort of find that kind of... Oh my goodness, from up above. And they've lost bouncing too. Elevate have cracked Kid Storms here. They've got the 2 kills that they need to have the numbers advantage now. Ethan has been just trying to find information, but the Pulse a little bit too slow in sort of gaining that information. A chance there for Sapper to find another kill. In all reality, though, I think Digital should have been the one to get the kill back the other way. Worthy has the chance. He can't find it either. Chiefs are just not able to find the little 50-50 moments in this round, and it's giving Elevate the chance to find their 2nd round win in a row.
Smarter siege from Elevate this time around, and the pressure back onto the shoulders of the Chiefs. A 2 versus 5 with Digital isolated makes his way towards Kids, but now it's a 1-on-5. Onigiri steps up, Sapper as well, and it was a very slow start.
Beautiful.
For Elevate, but they're turning it around.
So much better from Elevate. This is, okay, they're back, they've arrived. They were just a little bit late to the game. Clean, precise, you know, not rushing anything, not, you know, trying to make too much happen too early on, not putting a foot wrong. They're just playing within themselves a little bit more, understanding, okay, here's what we want to do, here's how we're going to do it, here's what they're doing, let's not play into that either. You could see Chiefs, that entire game, they're just sort of relying on the Pulse to get information for them, and when the Pulse is not getting anything, they just had nothing to go off of. Worthy's trying to make stuff happen. Boydie, unfortunate. It's just not much you can really do. You're just trying to deny the game's wall being opened up, and then you're running back and you're just, you know, getting shot from the guy on the roof. So not much you could really do there, but full credit to Onigiri, hitting some good shots. Elevate have slowed this game down. Now with only 1 round to go in the half, suddenly they can end this on a 3-3 half after an abysmal opening 3 rounds. Like, this is why we were shocked, Gus. The first 3 rounds was not the Elevate we're used to seeing. These last 2 rounds, though, that is the Elevate we're used to seeing.
I'm almost convinced that there's been a 5-man substitute during this game because these last 2 rounds have been completely different, not only in the end result being victories or round wins at least towards Elevate, but just the way in which they approach. And I think you outlined it pretty well. It's looking a lot better, and the Chiefs now struggling to try and shut it down. But the Aussies still with the chance here to actually extend the lead for 2, and they're not backing down, continuing to aggress offside.
And that's not a bad way of playing this. I think the Chiefs have actually brought the right mentality to this game. They need to bring aggression. They need to try and throw Elevate off the game. And we're seeing bouncing these, run-outs. We're seeing obviously a lot of pulse play. We're seeing a lot of roaming play. We're not seeing the conventional 5-man sitting on site Oregon and just defend and hold position. They're trying to make things happen. They're trying to get these opening kills. And that's why I think in the first 3 rounds, Elevate were succumbing to that. Because they're just running in trying to play a normal Oregon. And it's like, okay, there's a guy here, there's a guy there. Let's slow things down a little bit. They're obviously roaming. They're obviously aggressive. Slow it. Force them to make a mistake. Force them to put themselves in a bad position. Punish, capitalize. That's what they've been doing the last 2 rounds. So much cleaner from Elevate. And now Chiefs obviously have to adapt themselves. Only 1 more round to go, so maybe you just back yourself in, go for a run out. Obviously, didn't quite work. Just that it is what it is. But they do probably want to slow things down a little bit from this point now if you're the Chiefs.
It's a really good drone from Sapper. Elevate trying to get a read as to how many players are on site, because to water it down as simply as possible, the tactic from the Chiefs at the moment is, Ethan, you go basement and feed information to everyone else that's roaming, and we'll leave maybe 1 or 2 players on site just to make sure Elevate can't get control. Whereas Elevate on the attack, they're getting a really good read on that with the information that they have, and should start applying pressure now. We see Boyi taken really low, and now these roamers are starting to feel the pressure. We need to make an impact. We need to get back towards site, and they're being cut off from the front door.
Minute 20 seconds remaining in the final round of this first half. Elevate, we're down 3-0. Worthy takes a tag. Ethan again on the pulse down below. Gets information onto Onigiri, who does get down. Adrenal surge from Mr. Punch, though, brings him back up on a Finker that has not found any kills yet with that LMG. Surprising. Bouncing, though, the pressure from Lobby, but he's just out in the open. What? Onigiri's the one behind the van, and Bouncing is just such an easy target in the middle of Lobby. It's Elevate with the opening kill. Elevate, again, in the better position to find their 3rd round in a row.
I think the Chiefs now relying on a flank play. A couple of players to hold down site and find some picks to allow those roamers to sweep in late. Worthy's still probing outside white windows. Pits now being exposed, and Elevate push in.
30 seconds left. Mark is now planting. Mr. Punch with a big shot onto Worthy. It's Elevate that have shown up finally here on Oregon, and they are making quick work of the Chiefs. It's not even a contest anymore. Plant down, 4 versus 2. Digital. Ethan's outside. He can't even get the kill onto Sapper on the repel. And it's DCH that shuts down Digital. What a close to the half for Elevate. A team of growth and maturity over the last couple of months. They do not falter. They come back strong. And they have got eyes on the spot to the Berlin Major.
The single best turnaround I think I've ever seen, to be honest. The way that Elevate started out this map, it was like they were not even there. And then on the rotation, they just punished the Chiefs. They had a really good read as to the pulse roam tactic that they were employing, and just played it slow, played it methodical, hit site where appropriate, and traded out for control. And it worked really, really well. So I think they can be quite proud with the way in which they've brought this match back. However, though, defense on Oregon is not a staple anymore. It's not a given.
Yep.
So they can't afford to fall asleep again here in this second half and allow 3 rounds to slip. Yes, an overtime win will be enough, but there's no reason to have this match go any closer than it needs to be.
Well, the only thing that I'm now going to think about is the way that Chiefs sort of played that first half, guys. Yeah, a lot of roam, a lot of aggression. Does that maybe play into them here into the second half on the attack of Oregon? The problem is Oregon as a site, it's not that easy to play sort of an aggression play style. At times we see teams that maybe want to go for a fast take. They might blow open bunker, go for a blitz attack. It just hardly ever works. There's not really too many sites that you can really go for a quick rush. There's not a whole lot you can do either on the roam if the defense isn't roaming back the other way. So I think this actually is just going to be Elevate really taking this home in the second half and having full authority of this game. I don't see the Chiefs even getting another round.
I'm not sure if my prediction is perhaps that extreme, but I would be pretty surprised if this match went into overtime at this point. We'll see, though. Certainly stranger things have happened, and especially when Elevator qualifying for a major, hey, anything can happen. That is damn. Sure. As for their defensive effort, though, here in round 7, I believe only a singular roamer and others hunting down drones at the staircases. Yeah, just mark over towards Big Towers. So we'll see how much time he can waste in this round, and certainly some pretty keen entry fraggers for the Chiefs that will be looking to secure this pick. Worthy had a good start, but slowed down a little bit. Ethan has also been looking good today.
I just want to quickly add, because I'm not sure if it's been touched on, but Fury sitting on, probably watching this game, are cheering on in the bluest of blue jerseys, because if Elevate win this, Fury are knocked out of the running for a spot at the major. Fury need the Chiefs to win to set up a potential clash in Playday 7 of Fury and Elevate. Of course, Fury to play IG after this game, but yeah, just putting it out there that they need Chiefs win. Minute and a half remaining in 7th round. Chiefs, can they respond? Elevate responded in great fashion. Really stood up when the chips were down. He stood up to the aggression of the Chiefs and really snuffed it out. But now the Chiefs have to do the same thing here in the second half.
Pretty slow start, as expected, as Elevate play onto site. So they're backing themselves in to win these trades when it comes down to the conclusion of the round. Interesting from Sapper here. The smoke playing inside of Freezer. Now, typically you'd see that in Elbow Blue to try and deny that bunker position, but instead he's playing a little bit deeper. Perhaps he can use those canisters late round from what may end up being a safer position, but he's being hunted down at the moment by that LMG of Bouncing, and this could be a pretty key engagement to unlock the round for the Chiefs or to secure it for Elevate.
Maybe we'll call these the Sapper stairs here. Freezer, he owns this position. Full white, throws out the gas babe though to deny the push. There's 2 of them. He'll get at least 1. Bookmark it. Gets the down onto Bouncer. He might just go for 2. The gas babe bouncing back up though, courtesy of the adrenal surge of Ethan, and they have actually pushed Sapper away. Credit to the Chiefs in winning that little mini game, but unfortunately the full game going the way of Elevate. 20 seconds, forced to drop. Sapper wins that. The reposition is perfect with a bit of help from Onigiri. Ethan back the other way with the LMG off the Binker. It's strong, it's powerful, but will it be enough to salvage the round? The answer is certainly no. He's shut down as well. Boydie and Bouncing combined. 2 versus 2. What just happened? I need a replay, guys. I need a replay. What has just happened? It was 4 versus 2, then 0 versus 2. And the Chiefs have won the round.
I think it was just the back push there from the IQ. I believe it was Boydie, right? Just sweeping in late. I don't know exactly where he entered from. Perhaps it was blue or even down pillar. Hard to get
4
read.
versus 2. And just bang. First 2 and then 2. What?
No, he just pushed through. Yeah, okay.
Wow.
So I think he just managed to sneak through those crossfires, and Elevate did a really good job in holding the areas in which they were watching properly and surveillancing, sort of. But yeah, I guess he just sort of slipped through the cracks there. A big swing of momentum at the very end of that round for the Chiefs. An opportunistic play pays off. Very unexpected, and it probably hit Elevate like a bit of a truck like it hit us. They were probably sitting very comfortably saying, guys, let's just play smart. Let's just play safe. Round's over, and you don't get a point to show
There wasn't a lot of time left either on the clock, right? We're talking seconds into red time, and just rapid.
10 seconds left
Big
before
round win for the Chiefs off the back of 3 round wins in a row from Elevate, and also that now makes it 4 attacking round wins in a row here on
attackers are
Oregon.
moving out to locate a bomb
Obviously,
and
after the
defuse
Chiefs defensively won the first 3, a long way to go in this one, and it's the nature of Siege this day. I mean, it's also the nature of APAC South, guys. You see the Chiefs go up 2-0, then 3-0, and you're still kind of sitting back saying, well, Elevate are probably going to be able to come back. Then they do. And then I'm like, okay, nah, that's it. It's over now.
They're not going to win another round.
No more round wins for the Chiefs. And then bang, the Chiefs just come out and take that one straight away against the run of play. That's the most telling thing. It was scrappy. It was not clean. And it's probably not how they wrote it up in the playbook. But you win the round, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, for sure. There were certainly a lot of cracks in that attack, but clearly there were some on the defense as well that were exploited. Nonetheless, we have to move on now to round 8. Back down below again. A bold decision from Elevate. I guess perhaps they know that top floor is statistically not amazing, so they can tidy up downstairs, because for the most part it was, again, quite good. No roam once more, so the Chiefs get control up above. Might look to expedite this just a smidge, get a little bit more time so they can get the utility dump down properly. I think Freezer, the last sort of stand there from Sapper, despite not probably netting the kill that he would have liked, really did actually help the team a lot. And he's playing that position again. Worthy just droned it so they know. Can the Chiefs this time, though, do a better job in clearing?
Yeah, well, Sapper always plays this position on Oregon, and he plays it pretty aggressive. He'll swing, he'll find kills. I think they played, I think it might have been Wildcard on this game. Oh, what a shot from Sapper. I think just perfectly timed. Thanks, Sapper. He does, but oh no, right, it doesn't matter. Sapper just plays it perfectly, just like I said all but 5 seconds ago. See, I told you, he's got my back. And he shows up and just defends that position better than anybody else in APAC. It's his stairs. It's the Sapper stairs. And it could be Elevate's round. A minute left. And they now head over to Laundry for the Chiefs to see if they can maybe take those stairs instead.
Certainly should be at this point, but still 4 nades in the pockets of the Chiefs. All it takes is 1 or 2 of those to be placed correctly, and that could open up the round again. Worthy progresses to Freezer and gets the kill. Now he has the cross over towards Laundry, and Elevator in a slightly more dangerous position now.
Oh, Ethan almost got the head of Sapper. So close. Voidy goes low. Now down, now for the count. It's only Worthy. And he too falls along with the rest of his teammates. And almost like the last round as well. Quick succession of kills closing this one out. Maybe have we started a sort of back and forth second half? Could be on the cards. We'll have to wait and see. But Elevate to respond from that 7th round loss. And boy, it was all Sapper here for a moment. The peace of mind to know that he has this position on lockdown. The first shot, obviously, well off the mark. The second, almost full white. He just lands it perfectly. Then also the composure guards to reposition. I mean, that is a position on Oregon that you know is going to be defended so vigorously well by Sapper.
I think the most impressive thing about that play for me was Sapper's ability to time his runs correctly to avoid the utility. The flashbangs were probably not timed as well as they could have been from the Chiefs, but Sapper did a great job to navigate them in such a way that he was able to get that first pick, and then the second as well, whilst not being blind. So that was just really, really well played. And who knows, perhaps going forward, Freezer could be a particular spot of the map where a lot of teams want to defend more vigorously, because typically, especially with that pressure from the hatch, teams forfeit it, fall back to the box, and hope that they don't get naded. So we'll have to see if that trend does translate across the other teams in the league. But we can't focus on that for now. We head up above to Kids Dorms, and DCH is prepping a spawn peek out towards that junkyard spawn.
4-4 scoreline. Is this though where Elevate maybe put an end to this, to the shenanigans, and secure their spot at the Berlin Major? A win, an OT win, both would do it. A loss though puts them in a precarious position going into the final Playday. Position that they would not want to be in. Bouncing. Cruising on through at the moment, through shower corridors with that LMG in hand. Nade to try and clear out this position inside the security, but he gets a bit of help from the drone. Can save that nade. Goes through to the Banshee. So far, pretty easy work to establish a foothold over towards that White Stairs position for the latter end of this round, but he goes hunting.
On the prowl. The best operator in the game at the moment to lurk around. Kind of getting sick of having to play ranked with Dev, because this is exactly his POV every game. The timing not great, but the nade will land. This will be a kill.
No, it won't.
But Onigiri's on the concrete, so he survives. The splash damage doesn't do enough. Bouncin probably should have known better that he wouldn't have been within range of that grenade, but unfortunately, he can't have another go.
Please run back.
This is a very awkward engagement. Honestly, Onigiri...
Oh, he's got to get him here! Oh! No, he's let him through! Oh! Inches and moments can have such an impact in this game! Oh, he lets Onigiri live and loses his life in the process to Mr. Punch. Elevate with the advantage in the round. When in all retrospect, it should have been the other way around.
Ethan on the rappel now could pressure Onigiri out of this position, but Mr. Punch lurking below. He punches the window here, he gets a kill, but doesn't decide to commit. Digital's on the double window with the kit, so that's where the play is going to come from. Ethan now trying to clear Kids, knowing that Onigiri can prevent the jump in, but unfortunately the nades don't land, and overall the utility game from the Chiefs on these attacks has been a little bit lackluster, but that's a good flash. Boydie pushes in. Can he get the pick?
Again, there was two of them. They were able to pinch the other way. Boydie and Worthy combined down below in Kitchen. 25 seconds left. Still play up above. Ethan, you got to go very, very quick, buddy, with this one. Digital finds the kill onto Onigiri. A big window. Maybe opens it up. He's got the diffuser. That is now a moment where the Chiefs have the advantage, but they've got to go. They've got not a whole lot of time. Into red time we go. Boydie can't hit the shots. Defended by Sapper, of course, with another one with a shotgun. He does it all! Sapper saps the life out of the Chiefs.
What a play, a snake in the grass moment, and I don't think the Chiefs had very good information that he was playing in that corner position, able to deny double window, able to deny top white as well, and now is better time than ever for the Chiefs to respond with a tactical time out. Elevate. So close now to that major spot. It was a really good shutdown here. Boydie tried to go deep, but Sapper covered. Then he got the second onto Digital, and then the third for the KED. Really well played.
I just don't think there's a better defender in the league. You know, when we talk about players that are on a similar rating, and rightfully maybe even ahead on the ratings scale, Souffle and Jigsaw, the only two, they're more known for their offensive prowess, guards. But in terms of a defender, holding positions, a smoke player that is just a brick wall. You can't push through him. You can't run through him. Sapper holds the line every time. Has a very strong entry KD as well. Up there with the best of them, but on the defense, he is just formidable.
Really highlighting why he is one of the best players in the league in this match, but needs to continue that form here. The job not done for Elevate. And critically, they now rotate to the tertiary site of Meeting Kitchen. Not a horrible side at that, but certainly can be challenging. We'll see as to whether or not they can hold out a very simple, very straightforward composition from the defense. And the attack from the Chiefs, not too dissimilar. A lot of hard breach, the Osa in play as well. So all indications towards a big tower plant here behind those Talon shields.
Elevate one round away from match point, and in their eyes, major point. Chiefs looking to just hang on and see if they can keep this game going. They don't have anything to fight for. It's a little bit harder for them to dig deep as for the reasons to just give everything here in denying Elevate. But why not just be the team that causes a bit of chaos going into the final day? And why not just for a bit of self-pride, if you are the Chiefs, you can still end in a position that's far and away from the bottom end of the standings. If you win this game, you win your last game, you end up actually on 9 points, guys, for what would end up being sort of coined as an okay stage in the end.
Could even set up for the final Playday to be a Chiefs versus wildcard battle for last place, depending on how things shape up. But I think that's going to be so far away from their forethought at the moment. Just taking it each round at a time, and at a more macro level, how are they going to get control here of Big Tower? So far, pretty uncontested. A Talon shield up the top to cover off Attic. I assume the other will be pocketed for a plant later on in this round. Digital looks to come alongside now, just waiting for someone to cover his kitchen hallway. I presume Sapper is up close, and there's a mute jammer on the wall that needs to be dealt with.
Time to ring some ears.
40. Who's going to make the first move? It's Sapper that gets pushed off inside of Meeting.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Still has a Nitrocell that he didn't throw out. Holds the position. That's so low on health. And DCH as well. At around the half health point. Minute 20. And the Chiefs have done an okay job here in opening things up. But it's a Onigiri opening kill. Pushing towards lobby. Worthy can't find anything from Classroom. And I think this match falling by the wayside for the Chiefs. Adrenal Surge used by Worthy. Just hoping and praying for the timing of the run-through split, but it just doesn't come for him. Onigiri does not move an inch.
The positions from the Chiefs actually not bad, but they need to find these kills. But Onigiri left unchecked, and the Osa runs straight past. Bounce eventually does find that kill, but traded himself. Digital in the 1v4.
It has fallen to pieces for the Chiefs. It is match point Elevate. It is Berlin major point Elevate. here on Oregon into the 11th round. 1 round away from booking their tickets to the major.
You can see the smiles. They actually look pretty cool, calm and collected at the moment. Didn't really see much of them in the first 3 rounds, so hard to say if it's a contrast, but they'll be looking to just continue rolling this momentum 1 round at a time, ensuring that they do not get too far ahead of themselves. That last round, in my opinion, was actually quite close. Before Onigiri stepped up there, the Chiefs were actually in good positions, but he was able to really put the pressure back onto the attack. Now we go back downstairs, and the pressure point last time was obviously Freezer stairs. That's where Sapper got so many picks. That's where he did so much destruction. He's going to do the same thing here. So it's up to the Chiefs, if they want to win the round and they want to take it through Freezer, to ensure that he is cleared more efficiently this time.
I just don't know if the Chiefs sort of have it in them here to bounce back, guys, in all honesty. And that's not a slight on them. It's when you don't really have as much to play for.
5 seconds to go.
If you're in their position, it's a little bit harder to sort of
Attackers objective
find that spark, find that energy. It's a lot easier for Elevate. Remember, though, they started 0-3. 6 of the last 7 rounds have been won by the team in red. It's been an onslaught of Oregon. Elevate gave the Chiefs a handicap, and the Chiefs still have not been able to really get close to them.
Here we go then, preparing for Freezer. It looks like the Chiefs once more want to take it head on. Bounson leading the charge on the Lion. Other flashbangs to try and disrupt the smoke, but anticipate nades and other forms of utility to come across to aid. That is ultimately the path which the Chiefs want to take. There's also the alternative. They may go for the path of least resistance and not take on Sapper. Perhaps that would be the wiser option. I guess it really just depends how confident they feel going for a back push, which is not going to be all that much easier, I don't think. But Elevate sticking to their guns, and I respect that, right? On this basement site, they haven't really roamed at all. They've backed themselves in to win it in those power positions, and that is exactly what they've done so far.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, but this also means that, unfortunately, for Fury Gods, they are out. They're out now. There's no way that they can get back in with Elevate getting this match point. They've already got 1 point secured. So, commiserations to Fury, who play after this as Sapper. Again, a stalwart of defense here. He'll get 1 for his troubles. The down onto Bouncer. The push just can't come quick enough for the Chiefs to get any more. Mark gets the kill onto Boydie. It has been a capitulation of the highest order in the second half of the Chiefs. Elevate have been just far too good in every way possible, led by Sapper. Best player on this team right now, and maybe has the credentials as the best player in APAC South. And the way he's playing heading into the major, he's going to be a hard player to take down. Digital does, though, from above. That's the when he's running back and allows Ethan to push through with the LMG. That's what it does, and it does so well. 3 versus 3. The story's not over just yet.
No utility, though. No grenades, no flashes, so this push will be tough. Chiefs will need to trade this out perfectly. Ethan, with the last of his adrenal surges, will look to push in and head the charge.
No Onigiri, no Sapper, but Mr. Punch, Mark, the newer boys with DCH, can they book their team a spot at the major? Ethan, it's a trade, 1 for 1, now 2v2 overall. DCH loses his life over towards Freezer, is still worthy. Digital now coming in from the other side. It's almost red time, it's almost Berlin time, but not just yet. Mr. Punch, has he got 1 final punch here to blow out the Chiefs' candle of hope? Elevate, they've got the time, they've got the ticket to the major. Elevate are going to the Berlin Major as the best team in APAC South.
My word, it was a very, very slow start for Elevate, losing the first 3 rounds, but they turned it around massively. What a great performance. Sapper in particular, take a bow. That was incredible work on the defense. And Elevate will qualify for their 2nd major of the year. And fingers crossed, and they can actually attend this one.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. That's the